the oxygen leaking?
The silence of space? Space is just too quiet, isn't it?
As Karen floated gently along the outer wall of the space station, she reached out a gloved hand, murmuring through her helmet. Beside her, Ami and Yuri, who were busy with their own tasks, nodded in agreement.
You'd never feel this kind of silence on Earth. It's almost scary.
Yuri said, glancing up toward the vastness of the star-studded sky, stretching far into the distance. Stars glimmered from light years away, suspended in the expanse. At that moment, they felt as if they were small, solitary dots, lost in the infinity of space. Despite her slight unease, Ami's curiosity won out, and she carefully continued her repairs on the station's wall.
But this is part of the mission. I'd like to finish quickly and get back inside,
Karen said, keeping her usual calm tone as she worked. She had no idea that this serene work in the silence of space was about to be interrupted by an unexpected danger.
An unexpected assault.
In the silent, star-studded expanse of space, Ami clung to the outer wall of the space station, carefully applying her tools to the panel in front of her. Behind her, Karen and Yuri were also hard at work. Each of them remained vigilant, paying close attention to the challenges of the zero-gravity environment.
Panel G repair complete. How's it going over there?
Ami asked over the communication line, and after a brief pause, Karen's voice replied,
Smoothly. Just a bit more here.
Her voice cut off suddenly. At that moment, out of the corner of her eye, she caught sight of an out-of-control drone wobbling erratically as it approached the three of them from the left side of the station.
Huh, is that a drone?
Before Ami could fully comprehend what she was seeing, the drone accelerated, barreling towards them as if it had a mind of its own, headed directly for the three of them.
Ami, dodge.
Karen's sharp voice cut through. Snapping out of her daze, Ami instinctively moved her body to the side to avoid the drone's path. However, making sudden movements in zero gravity was difficult, and she didn't fully evade it. The drone grazed her backpack with a dry, scraping sound, leaving a gash that caused Ami to feel a slight discomfort on her back.
Is the oxygen leaking?
From the impact, a faint hiss began to sound from Ami's backpack. She saw the oxygen level meter on her display slowly decreasing, and a tightening fear crept over her as she realized her oxygen was leaking.
Ami, stay still.
Yuri's panicked voice sounded as she moved quickly to Amy, pulling out an emergency kit and swiftly applying sealant to the tear on Amy's backpack.
It's okay. This should slow the oxygen leak a bit.
Watching Yuri's hurried hands at work, Ami tried to calm herself by taking a deep breath. Yet the fear of the oxygen leak and the anxiety of the zero-gravity environment kept her from fully regaining her composure, leaving her feeling frustrated with herself.
Thank you, Yuri. You saved me.
Don't worry about it now. We just need to get back to the station as soon as possible.
As Ami managed to thank her, Yuri placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder and smiled. But at that moment, the drone resumed its erratic movement, once again closing in on them. The out-of-control drone seemed possessed, drawing a path directly toward the three of them.
The drone's coming back. Karen, what should we do?
Yuri's panicked voice called out for Karen's guidance. Remaining calm, Karen assessed the positions of all three of them and carefully watched the drone's trajectory. Narrowing her eyes slightly, she gave her next order.
We're going to move towards the airlock, dodging in sync with the drone's movements. I'll signal when it's safe, so follow my lead.
Karen's calmness was like a beacon, easing the fears of her two companions. Yuri and Ami nodded slightly at her words and began to move carefully, following her lead. Karen observed the drone's behavior and calculated its trajectory. Noticing a moment when it moved slightly farther away, she seized the opportunity and called out in a strong voice.
Now move forward.
In sync, the three of them advanced, taking advantage of the brief gap as the drone put some distance between itself and them.
We're still okay. Stay calm. We're moving to the next point.
Following Karen's precise instructions, Ami and Yuri continued forward. However, the oxygen leak was gradually taking a toll on Ami, causing her breathing to grow labored and her face to pale. Noticing this, Karen called out to her again.
A little further, Ami. We're here with you.
Encouraged by Karen's voice, Ami struggled forward, taking each step with determination. Karen occasionally looked back at her, meeting Ami's gaze, and each small nod she received from Karen helped her push away her anxieties, bit by bit. Yet the drone's erratic behavior showed no sign of abating, and its movements grew increasingly erratic and violent. It seemed almost as if it were deliberately trying to trap the three of them in the vastness of space, pursuing them relentlessly.
This isn't good. If it keeps thrashing like that, it could block our path.
Karen's gaze sharpened as she carefully assessed the drone's movements, calculating the best way to ensure a clear route to the airlock. Meanwhile, Ami's oxygen depletion was accelerating, and her breathing grew more labored. Both Yuri and Karen supported her as they continued their slow but steady march toward the airlock, each step feeling like a life-or-death struggle. Despite the overwhelming despair and fear that threatened to crush them, they had no choice but to keep moving forward, step by step, relying solely on Karen's calm guidance.
A little more. We'll get back safely no matter what.
Karen's resolute words rekindled Ami and Yuri's determination, and with renewed strength, they moved in unison.
Isolated and out of communication.
As they hurried along the path to the airlock, the slight but steady oxygen leak from Ami's backpack continued, keeping the three of them on edge. Karen maintained a calm facade, but inwardly, she was grappling with the fear of whether they would make it back safely.
We need to contact the station and call for backup.
Karen operated her handheld communication device, attempting to connect with the ground control center. However, realizing the line was dead, she furrowed her brow.
It's no good. The communication is jammed. It might be interference from the drone's signal.
Upon learning the communication was down, an even deeper anxiety appeared on Ami and Yuri's faces. The feeling of being abandoned in the boundless expanse of space began to silently creep over the three of them.
What should we do, Karen? Maybe we really won't make it back.
Yuri's voice trembled as she forced out her words, but Karen turned to her immediately, replying in a calm voice.
Calm down. We've overcome crises like this many times before. This time too, if we stick together, we'll make it back.
Karen's resolute words reassured Ami and Yuri, and they both gave a slight nod. Carrying their anxieties with them, the three resumed their gradual progress.
A battle with the drone.
The rogue drone flew freely around the station as if it had a mind of its own, continuously maneuvering in a way that seemed to trap Karen and her team. Each time it passed nearby, the three of them would huddle together, hiding behind any cover they could find to avoid detection.
Karen, at this rate, we're never going to make it back to the airlock.
Ami panted as she voiced her concern. After a brief moment of consideration, Karen made a decision.
All right. I'll go ahead and draw the drone's attention. Meanwhile, you two head to the airlock.
But Karen, that would put you in danger.
Yuri protested desperately, but Karen looked at the two of them with a resolute expression.
I'll be fine. I've been watching its movements closely enough that I'm confident I can dodge it. Besides, your safety comes first.
Seeing the determination in Karen's gaze, Ami and Yuri reluctantly nodded, deciding to follow her instructions.
The trial of the EVA.
As Karen distracted the drone, Ami and Yuri carefully but quickly made their way toward the airlock. Ami felt her oxygen levels steadily decreasing, and the creeping sense of panic gnawed at her. Yet, with Yuri's steadying hand guiding her, she managed to maintain her composure.
Will Karen make it back safely?
Yuri muttered anxiously. Ami felt the same worry, but she forced herself to face forward, giving Yuri a reassuring smile.
She'll be all right. After all, it's Karen.
As the two of them neared the airlock, an ominous sound from the drone echoed from behind. Startled, they turned to see Karen skillfully dodging the drone's attacks as she gradually maneuvered in the direction of the airlock.
Karen,
Don't lose focus, we're almost at the airlock.
Karen's voice came through the communication line, reaching the two of them. Encouraged by her words, Ami and Yuri summoned the last of their strength and finally made it to the airlock.
Return and rescue.
Having safely reached the airlock, the three of them floated in the weightless chamber as the inner hatch closed. Ami, who had been dealing with the oxygen leak, finally allowed herself to relax, a look of relief crossing her face as she let her body sink against the wall.
Phew, we made it.
Yuri caught her breath and, supporting Amy's back, murmured with heartfelt relief.
I'm so glad everyone's okay.
Karen gave the two of them a soft smile, reaching out to gently pat their shoulders.
You both did great.
Karen's words deepened the sense of relief and accomplishment shared among them. Eventually, they reunited with the rescue team, savoring the joy of a mission safely completed, and reaffirmed the strong bond that had helped them overcome the terror of space.
Bonds of friendship and a new resolve.
With warm bowls of soup in hand, the three of them sat together inside the station, reflecting on the tense mission they had just endured and celebrating their safe return.
This mission was really scary, but I'm so glad we made it back together.
Ami said, smiling. Yuri also smiled and added,
But we'll have to be even more careful next time.
Karen looked at the two of them with a gentle smile and replied,
Yes, but let's keep giving it our all. No matter the danger, as long as the three of us are together, we can overcome it.
And so, with renewed determination, the three of them looked forward to their next mission in the boundless universe.